Greetings, visionaries. This is your host, the INFJ Visionary. And we're going to start off today just talking about something that I've had friends before, and we're all like conflicting with people all the time. And, people aren't always seeing things clearly. they're not, they're not acting right. And in many ways they can mess with our lives, and thus conflict ensues. But one idea that I've always expressed to friends of mine in regards to this is that if you're having a conflict with somebody and you are essentially able to see more than they can, if you're exhibiting essentially a higher level of consciousness. And I'm not saying this with any kind of, ego or judgment necessarily of the other. More of you're an INFJ, you know what I mean. You just know things. Really, it should be over that conflict at that point, because it's on you. If you have a higher level of consciousness than somebody you're conflicting with, then it's on you, not them. Because you're the one that can see clearly. Expecting people that can't see clearly to see clearly is foolish, and, then you're a fool. And what kind of life is that? Now, I've been that kind of fool, don't get me wrong. But, I think I do. One of the beliefs that I entertain is the belief in the evolution of consciousness. At least from the standpoint of where we are as human beings, I think that the spark that animates us, of course, is not something that needs to evolve, because it's everything, that is already and will be. Or you could call it God or the universe, or whatever term you can envision in your mind is fine. It doesn't really matter what you call it, because you're labeling something from a limited perspective that's unlimited. That's why it doesn't matter what you call it. And the fact of the matter is that any schools of thought that get really into dogmas and things, those are basically just stepping stones to the levels of consciousness that might put you within grasp of just discerning a small part of what that greater aspect of ourselves is, what it wants, why we exist, all of these questions. Anyway, I don't want to get too esoteric, and it's not hard for me, but I think this is a really valid idea, and that in many ways, of course, conflict is inevitable. If you're involved with life, you've got skin in the game. You want things, and you want things to happen, and I think that's how it should be. There's no sense in having a play with no actors the actors doing nothing, I guess. No sense in having a play where there's no point or plot. You need to have a point and a plot, and to a large degree that is going to be centered around conflict of some type. One party wants something and another party wants something else, or they both want the same thing and they're going to vie for it. They're going to compete, that kind of thing. Anyway, if you've got someone in your life that you've had a hard time with, you're frustrated with them because they don't see things that you see, and they're making things difficult for you, then just release the whole episode. Just release it completely. And here's another thing. We're going to go flip into sort of part 2 of this, is that flipping the script is a very, very important idea. At any time, so let's just say you are conflicting with this person, even in spite of yourself, even in spite of knowing that you kind of see more than they do, you know that you're right, but still negativity is all around, and you can't seem to pull yourself out of it, even though you know that you shouldn't be being negative, right? what's the way out? How do you flip the script? How do you change? Well, just do something unexpected. Like, let's just say you're having a fight with your significant other, and I hope you do have one. And that's something I want to talk a bit more about, maybe in another broadcast. But well, your good friend, your family member, your significant other, it doesn't matter. And something was said or done, and you guys are having a negative time of it. Rather than holding that negativity inside you, release it, and well, you could just apologize. Sometimes it doesn't come off because they won't trust you or the apology. You could just go over and put your hand on their shoulder and say, yeah, whatever. Let's, you're, you could, you could say you're right, and that might be very difficult if you know that you're right. I'm not necessarily suggesting that so much. I'm saying that you want to do something unexpected. What's expected is to keep fighting, to keep conflicting, and you just hope that at some point they'll realize that they're wrong and that you are right, and that it can happen. Maybe if what they've done is so egregious that it's obvious to anybody really examining it that the other party was in the wrong. Maybe in that case, sure. But there's a lot of areas where it's just emotions, it's just feelings. And in a place like that, it starts with you letting go. And I think once you let go of that, holding on to that idea that you have of being right and of asserting yourself in that situation. Once you let go of that, everything falls into place from there anyway. It really doesn't matter what kind of machination you come up with to escape from the situation, because once you've done that, once you've let it go, once you've realized that, oh well, I don't need to have a problem with this individual right now over this, and I'm essentially in the wrong right now. You're essentially in the wrong at the point where you're harboring negative ideas and energy anyway. Even if you started off being right, once you click into that area, it's not going to go well for you, and it's not in line with the universe. The universe is not into being negative, it's into being positive. It's short-sightedness that brings about negativity. And what's an idea like selfishness that comes into my mind? Well, it's focusing on your limited perspective, and it's clinging to it. It's not expanding and sharing awareness with others, which is what you want to do, and not in a contrived way, not in a forced way, not in a way like a lot of organized religions say do, where everyone just basically moves through the same patterns, and thus they'll kind of be sharing one sort of consciousness. This is way more liberated than that. And it's a decision. So here we go. We got just a minute left. Today, just, if anything negative's coming around, just release it. You don't need it. It's not any negative idea that you entertain is basically creating a hell for you. There's nothing good that can come from it. Doesn't matter if you're right. Doesn't matter what you want. It really doesn't. You gotta let it go, and just be positive and put out positivity, and not in a forced fake way either, not in a way where you want people to notice that you're being this way. That's not going to get it. It's not going to do the job. What you got to do is just release the negativity, and pretty much when you release the negativity, then you're in line with the universe, and that's automatically positive. And so today, I would challenge you not to express any negative ideas at all, and that'd be the very least. And if you can manage to not entertain any negative thoughts, that'd be even better. That'd be an evolution of consciousness, and you'd have a really good day, and the people would like being around you as well. So that's what I got to say for today. Until I come back, keep on keeping on.